Pavlina Osta is an award-winning multimedia personality and the best-selling author of 20 Things Every Motivated 20-Something Should Know. Recently hired as the evening anchor for TV6 in Marquette, Michigan, Pavlina also implements her dynamic talents as a content creator, producer, host, and serial entrepreneur. Pavlina has strong roots in speaking to pop culture. In fact, at age 11, she hosted her first radio talk show, which won her 5 Gracie Awards, a TELLY Award, a Communicator Award, and a Rising Star Award. As she continued her media journalism career, Pavlina interviewed over 600 notable celebrities, including Katie Couric, Shaquille O'Neal, and Steve Forbes. Her interview skills reached new heights as she earned herself a Guinness World Record for the most radio interviews conducted in 24 hours. And that number is 347. Today, at age 24, this groundbreaking Gen Z commentator continues to make waves in the media industry. Your story, your background of how you got involved, and first with radio it's really phenomenal. Will you kind of just, give us the highlights of not only your story, but the age you started with this? Because I think that's incredibly impressive, as well as what you did, which is even more impressive.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, I fell in love with media so early in life that it's literally been my entire career, and we're going into like more than half of my life being in media. But I started in radio when I was 11 years old. I was interviewing celebrities on location, and it's funny because it started off with me playing steel drums on the beaches of Daytona Beach, and I started getting interviews by local stations because they were like, "What is this kid doing on the beaches of Daytona? Like, what's going on here?" And I would play in the studios. And then a general manager at one point was like, "You should start your own show. You sound good on air. You clearly like to be here." Like, I just got so excited talking to people and like seeing the buttons and like how it all worked, like just like the mechanics of it. I thought it was beautiful, and it's a very intimate medium as well. And so is podcasting, it's just same thing, but different. Right. And I interviewed over 600, actually over 800 celebrities, if you really count all the red carpets that I had gone to, but over 800 major celebrities. By the time I was 15 or 16, I got a Guinness World Record for the most interviews conducted in 24 hours. I've done countless media hits, TV hits all across the world, because like a lot of them were international as well. As an expert in millennials and Gen Zs, pop culture, politics, business, and tech even. So I completely understand the like what you guys are going for here, and being able to be that expert on a TV network, or being seen as that. So yeah, but that was basically the start of it.
And I know that you started out playing steel drums on the beach just because you really loved it.
I did.
And I know when I interviewed you for my podcast, you're like, just so everybody knows, my mom wasn't, my mom knew I was there. She was actually keeping an eye on me.
She was in the car. She had her Starbucks. She was reading her Kindle or her books or whatever. And she was just like making sure I didn't disappear. But yeah, it was, she was always there.
But she really supported you in your dream. And at that time it was, the music, you enjoyed the music. And then it evolved. I mean, that kind of support is incredible, because that's, you have the soccer parents, and you've got, parents taking their kids all over the place. But, being able to sit there while you're playing steel drums with your case open saying, "Hey, anybody want to give me a tip?" That's a pretty good mom.
I was a very, I was involved in a lot of sports too. Like, she would take me from gymnastics to dance to karate to Girl Scouts. And then on the weekends I'd play my steel drums, and then it transformed into the radio show. And whatever I wanted to do, both my parents were there for me, whether it was like financially, driving me around, just supporting me if I ever got discouraged with something, so yeah, I'm very, very lucky in that sense.
I love it. Well, so, people listening are going to be saying, okay, that sounds great, but she started out really young. She got a couple breaks. People liked her stuff, but
it was really hard. I think actually starting out in media younger is way harder than if you're like a professional in something else and then going into media. I think that's way more the play. I just happened to fall into it really early, it was definitely something like I couldn't do interviews on NASCAR until I was 18 because of insurance. I couldn't go to I was at what do you call it? Gambling casinos. I was at a casino, like I would go to casinos for like different interviews and stuff, and like they'd walk me like with security around the perimeter because I wasn't allowed to be there. Like I was too young. A lot of TV, you know, I've just now got my first job as a evening news anchor. And I just turned 24. Thank you. But even before, I mean, COVID didn't help either, just as far as like timeline goes and everything. But I was too young to be a news anchor for a long time. And that always like bothered me. So I think, and as far as like being an expert in things, you know, they don't usually take a young person to be like an expert in anything. So I really had to like just keep proving myself over and over and over. But I think if you have your like maybe you're a lawyer, maybe like whatever it is that you're a professional in, and then being like, I'm the expert in this subject, and then just go ham on that, that's the way to go, you know. I chose the harder path, but it's been a fantastic journey.
I think what I'm seeing in you, and what I know, because I've known you for a few years, there's an authentic, honest personality. I think
you.
when you're a kid, you know, 11 years old, 12, 13, 14, you're not studying broadcasting. You're not going on websites. You're not learning. You are yourself.
100%.
And I think that's what has culminated in you getting an anchoring job at age 24. Not many people get that. You know, most people are in college and they're studying broadcasting, and they're taking classes, and they're making videos, and they're on YouTube. But look what you have done. And that, I just see it right here in this online interview. There's just an honesty, there's a wonderful personality.
Thank you.
And I think that's the tip for all people that want to be on TV.
Yes.
You could be an expert in the field, but not an expert in television. You know,
you might need a little media training. People
right.
do that, you know, like that's like
Of
a thing.
course.
Yeah.
Yes.
But in the media training, now I've never done media training. I never taught anybody, but as a stage manager, I could see when a person comes in the studio, or they come into the green room, or for hair and makeup, if they're nervous, if they're relaxed. We might have little conversations. So you try to welcome people, right? With Good Morning America, especially, you come into our home, our set, right? Good Morning America has been around for, I don't know, 45 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And you welcome people, and you're friendly, and you try to relax. And then the on-air host also, who are doing the interview, they try to be welcoming and friendly also. Advice for people that are on camera, right? Obviously, you want to be as knowledgeable in what you're going to do on television, right? Whatever subject matter. But like I said, you want to be yourself. You want to have conversation. You don't want to worry about the cameras. You don't want to worry about the lighting. Just have a nice conversation and share. Most of the time, especially on network TV, you're on the air for 3 minutes, if not less. So make
if you're
sure
lucky, you get 3 minutes.
Yeah,
right.
So make sure you have your bullet points. You know how to say the things quickly, and then also listen. And not only as an interviewer listening to the guest, but if you're the guest, you want to listen, because if that interviewer takes you somewhere, but you have everything memorized, well, I got 3 minutes, so I have to do all this, and all of a sudden you say something, but that person took you on a tangent. You have to kind of be part of that also, I think.
You were on a lot of red carpets, and you've interviewed some very famous people.
Yes.
And it would be fun if you shared a couple fun stories, because that would be great.
Sure.
But what I want to know first is, as you were meeting some of these incredibly famous people, and I know you shared with me when we interviewed for my podcast, some of them that really touched you, you know, that were great people that you really consider friends even. But when you met some of them, did you have those moments of panic of like, oh my gosh, I'm a little starstruck, or I'm a little nervous? And if so, you know, maybe tell a story or two, or how you got through it.
Yeah, I mean, you know what's kind of crazy is I never really got starstruck with any of the interviews. I never really felt, I was just like, they're people, I have an interview, I got a job to do, I need to make this freaking happen. Okay. The only person I did get starstruck with was, it's just like such a random thing, but was Miranda Cosgrove, because she was on Drake and Josh. And that was my favorite show at the time. It was on Nickelodeon, and I loved Drake and Josh. Like, I ended up interviewing Drake Bell as well, but I think I was a little bit older, and I wasn't as starstruck for some reason. I don't know why, because I had a huge crush on him. But Miranda Cosgrove, it was in Tampa, Florida, and I was going down, the stairs backstage, basically, to the green room area. And it was just like seeing her, and I was like, oh my God, that's Megan. Like, I was just like, whoa. It was just like one of the, and I was still pretty young. I think I was around 12, 13. I was definitely still watching the show. So it was one of those moments where I got really excited. Was there anyone else? Gloria Steinem, I just always really looked up to, and I was able to interview her. I didn't actually get nervous for that one though. That was more of like, I felt like she was just like really expecting a lot from me. So I was like, okay, I just need to like do good. So I guess I was a little nervous, but that was in a hotel. I don't know where it was, but there was like this crazy rally going on outside, and like protest. And we just had to like do the interview really quick because they were getting a little rowdy.
Wow.
And she was just impressed with like the fact that I was by myself, and like every interview I did, I was by myself. And yeah, she was just always sort of an inspiration, but Miranda Cosgrove was the only one that like really like, I was like, whoa,
You're just starting by yourself. And I know we're going to talk about virtual because that's where we are right now with COVID. But how do you have your setup? What's your background? What's your lights? What's your camera angle? Look, she has a fancy microphone. I'm not using a fancy microphone, but then again, I'm not an on-camera person. Oh, look, you got one too.
I've got a good one. It's not an expensive one, but it is a good one, but it's not as fancy looking as yours.
I know this was a relatively inexpensive one as well, but it definitely makes a huge difference from my computer audio. So I was like, we're going to use it.
Oh yeah. Well,
and then even I would normally even put like a, if I'm especially doing like a TV thing, I have a ring light on me. It's kind of hard with some of these mirrors, but like having a ring light on you, obviously doing like not full makeup, but like you can get away with powder on these like Zoom and like different things. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how other people, that's right. Yes.
I'm a little, I
little
was looking
shiny,
at myself
Michael.
I was a little shiny.
A little glow is okay, but we want that matte finish, So I think most people are like pretty used to like the whole Zoom, like what to do. Like I'm in gym shorts and I just have a blouse on. Like no one needs to know, but the lighting or like the quality of the video, I even got, it's packed away in a box, of course, but I have like a camera that I put on my computer, and that gives you like a better camera quality. And then I would have like the ring light and the microphone. All of that is like so important. It's like necessary. And you can get like bundles even on Amazon. Like literally they have like camera bundles at this point. It's brilliant.
Absolutely. I have a giant ring light behind my camera, and I have 2 standing lights that I can adapt nice. Because of what I do. And same thing with the camera. I actually am just about to upgrade to a better webcam as well. But what's interesting, I'm finding though, or at least what I'm watching when I watch people on the news that are doing virtual interviews, that are being interviewed about, whatever specific topic, are the people that really actually are really reputable and great experts, but who haven't invested in the right equipment. So it's a little hard to hear them or see them, or it's not quite as sharp as you'd like, or people that even today will have piles of paper, and stacks of things.
I think those are the people that like know their stuff and they're totally experts, but they're not camera ready. Do you know what I mean? Like they don't have that TV side ready. Cause like, that's a big part of it. And like, when I'm looking for experts, either for like my podcast or like for a guest or whatever, like going to, conferences or like people that speak at conferences, those people are usually camera ready. You know what I mean? Like they want to speak. They're obviously like here for it. They're usually camera ready or like have like all of their appearance and stuff ready, and it's another good thing to like check their social media. Like depending on how active they are, they probably know what's going on or what's not. You know what I mean? So yeah, as far as like being an expert on shows, I think all of that from like, cause I do a lot of producing, so like I know what to look for like on the producer side as well, like looking at all of those like little aspects make a huge difference on if someone's going to want to have you on their show. for like any expert like that wants to get started in this, everyone has a podcast, you know, and 90% of people record like video of their podcast. So whatever your niche is, if you're like a nutritionist or something, find all of those healthy podcasts, even like the small ones, like start small and grow. Okay. But go to like all of those like little podcasts and then upload those. And like that way people know how you sound. Oh, she sounds concise and there's not a lot of ums or likes in there. And, you know, easy to follow is all of those wonderful things. But then also, you know, oh, hey, can we do a Zoom of this? You know, and like the person doing the podcast, if they're not on that, then I don't know what they're doing, but they'll probably say yes. You know what I mean? So I think even doing something like that, so that way, oh, look, they know how to be interviewed. And then, but even if it is a small podcast, it's easier to grow that way, you know?
You can be in your 30s, 40s, 50s, but just starting out to try to be an expert is reach out to the best of the best. Because if you're at this level and here's this top person and you find them somehow on social media, email, whatever, and you reach out to them and try to get some advice or some help or some mentoring, you're not a threat to them right now because they're like way up here. If you're on the same level, you're kind of a threat to people. So they might not be so open and receptive to help you. So if you're a medical expert or you're a dermatologist, well, try to find the best of the best person and reach out to them and say, hey, look, you know, I'm starting out. Can you help me? Can you this? And you never know. Somebody might take you under your wings and help you.
Let me ask you, Pavlina, when you got this Guinness Book of World Records, did you seek to do this? Was this something you're like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get them behind me? Because I actually, well, what I know or understand is that it can actually cost a lot of money to have to get somebody to verify that. So what's the story behind that and what made you want to do that?
Yeah, so I interviewed Hunter Hayes in New York at the USTA. It was like the press day. I know he's so sweet. He is like one of the so sweet. And,
not that I know him, but I love him. I pretend that I know him, but go on.
I mean, his songs kind of make you feel like you do, you know? So we did an interview and he had just done his Guinness World Record. And then we were talking about it and he's like, you should do one for interviews. Cause I was kind of giving him like a little like highlights on me and stuff. And I was like, that's a great idea. Let me look into it. And I did. And that was whenever the USTA was. And then it was like that following November. So I worked for a few months to put it all together, get all the questions around, get a team around to do the streaming and do the videoing of all of it. It can definitely be pricey because they get you with the expediting, you know, whatever, and getting an actual judge to come to the locate. Like, I was 15. Okay. My parents were like, let's just see if you like, you're going to get it. Like, we're supportive, but let's just try this. You know what I mean? Like, let's just like see what happens. And then we'll send it to them and we'll go from there, you know? And I was like, deal, I'll take it. You know, you guys are helping me get like this team around and like a 10 and driving me to get my permits and stuff. So it was, I didn't spend a lot of money. I mean, I spent some money on like the merch because I thought it was cool. And I had like all my team people in these like safety vests, you know, like the ones that like reflect. And I also got stickers for all of the participants. It was like a Guinness World Record sticker. Like, you know, you have a number on it. So that's where I did spend money. But other than that, we were balling on a budget. But yeah, you can definitely go because they try to get you with a lot of different things. And a lot of times you don't get the record. You know what I mean? A lot of like I did a second record where I was trying to create my own and then set it right for the longest marathon playing steel drums. Cause I was like a little homage to how I started, you know, I went for 26 hours. I did the exact same thing and they didn't take it. And I was like, fine. I think I lost a few hours of footage.
Somebody who's beaten you on steel drums, or they just didn't want to give you a record for it?
They didn't want to give me a record for it. I think, like I said, I think I lost a few hours of footage and that's what happened. It's like the team I had that time wasn't as good. I was just like, dang it. Yo, who you have around you and your team with anything is very important. So I will break it again eventually. I just didn't want to do it for a long time. That was exhausting. You know, my hands were cramping. You're allowed like 5 minutes because they give you like regulations and rules that you have to follow, even for a record that you're setting. and my hands were like cramping because you're holding mallets, you know.
Oh,
My
yeah.
dad would come over and like massage my hand, and I was just like, okay.
You know, the sense is when what makes somebody, besides, you know, being authentic and knowing your stuff, what else do you think draws you? If you've got two people that both have the same knowledge, both are pretty authentic, both, you know, are going to show up well, what makes one person stand out more than another, do you think, in terms of, you know, really being memorable enough on TV, but also that will be someone that will draw the attention of the people in the media that want to say, that's the person. If I have to choose between those two, that's the one I'm going to pick.
So I look at a few things. One is obviously personality. Like, are they interesting? Are they fun? You know, I look at social media numbers. I'm like, will you get me more attention on this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
obviously a big thing. And I also just like credibility is credibility. If you have some best-selling books, if you have a lot of awards behind your name, if you know what I mean, like New York Times best-selling author, an Emmy winner of whatever, like if you have all that, that obviously sounds really good. So like the more credentials you have, I just think is the better. But also, you know, having like a memorable personality, you know, like kind of like what we said before, just like having something that is intriguing and like fun to watch. All people care about these days is content, you know, and it's just like, if you can say something funny, or if you can say something like memorable to where someone's like, oh my gosh, like I remember that fun fact that doctor gave on that show because they
Right.
said it this way, like I would totally watch that again, or I'd want to follow them, or like they have something interesting about them. Like everyone is out there these days. It's about like making yourself stand out.
You have to have that certain personality, because if you're pretty much the same, if there's two people and you're pretty much the same, well, there got to be something that's different, right? Um, if you both have the same credentials, you both have the same background, then it's all about you, your personality, who you are. I think even if you're not in person, and we could talk about actually in person, but right now with COVID, most guests are not in person. You could tell the honesty of a person, you could tell their personality, you could tell if they're authentic, if they really care about the subject matter and what they're talking about. So as much as you can be original and be yourself and not try to be like other people, I think viewers, I think interviewers will see that. I think people in the crew will see that. If you ever get to the part where you're actually in a studio, you're friendly with people, and don't be directed. Like, I've seen people that come on that are just directed on the host.
Yeah.
It's a crew of 20, 30 people. You know,
Oh,
I've
yeah.
seen also people that are friendly with everybody, that thank everybody. We've had guests on that after the interview went around and shook everybody's hands and thanked them. Go.
I also think with just experts, like I love when people are obviously entertaining, they have the personality, they have all of that, but they give background and really cool history and a lot of statistics. And, oh, there was a recent study on this. Like, just be so incredibly knowledgeable that I can't turn you off. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I like to know exactly what's going on. And then you also put your awesome personality, you know, spin with that. Like, you're winning, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, winning, let's go.
And not only all that knowledge, but if you
Mhm.
could share something personal.
Yeah.
A lot of these medical COVID experts say, well, I have grandchildren and they're 12 years
Make
old
it
and they're getting
relatable.
vaccinated.
Yeah.
Or, you know,
Right.
something where you could say, hey, look, I'm not just a smart person, but I actually live in the real world and I
Yeah.
have to actually, you know, do things myself. So if you could share some of that personal stuff, that's kind of cool. So
Yeah.
when you're talking about pictures, are you talking about email pictures? Are you talking
That's
social
kind of,
media, LinkedIn? Are you talking in person? Like, what type of pictures are you talking about?
see, because that's where I was, my head was sort of like going off in a billion different areas. And I was like, wait, we need to reel this in, because I was thinking email at first.
Right.
Because like,
Yeah.
how else do we talk to each other these days other than
Yeah.
social media, you know?
Yep.
But in-person pitches, that's done the most for me. You know what I mean? Like, when you're in person and you get to just like talk to someone and they get that natural feel, because an email or a DM on Instagram or something can feel so fake and just like where you blast it out to a million people. You know what I mean? It's like, did you just change the name to like me? You know what I mean? Like, what is that? So I just think, making it like following the person for a while or like having some sort of engagement with them in the first place, and then sending a pitch out, or getting yourself, sort of seen first definitely helps, but the pitching process is also, you can send out 50 pitches and get 2 back. You know what I mean? Just accept the fact that that's the process.
Yeah. If you get 2 back out of 50, sometimes you're doing well.
Yeah. Sometimes that's a win.
Yeah,
for sure. I would send out so many interview requests when I had the radio show. And I mean, I did a lot of interviews, so you can only imagine how many emails I sent out, but it was, I think that's also another form of pitching, is like when you're trying to get the interviews, it's a lot of work, but honing in on that and just making sure that part's also authentic and, having all of your information in there. You don't want to be going back and forth with a producer where they're like, can I have your Instagram? Can I have this? It's just like, just give it to them. You know what I mean? Like, here's the headshot and bio. It's all there for you. Like,
standard.
Yeah. And having like a press kit, a media kit, all that stuff, having your reel on deck if you have one,
Having everything all in one place, like on Shock Your Media Potential.
Yes. Oh my gosh, how perfect.
Well, let me add 2 things with that. So one thing, even though I'm a stage manager, because I've been in the business and I have a lot of connections, I'm very helpful. A lot of people send me pitches, or they can you get this to this person, that person, this person. And what I have seen through the years, the best email pitches, because that's how we kind of send pitches out, are short, concise, to the point. And it's not this long thing and telling these long stories,
I won't read it.
No producer's not going to read that.
Right.
They have, I come in every day and I have 500 emails. Not that I read them all, because as a stage manager, I don't need to read them all, but I'm in the DL, I'm in certain groups that I get all these emails. So there are people that are reading these 500 emails every single day. So if they're getting pitches, they don't want this long thing. They want a few sentences, they want a clip, they want a link to your website or whatever. And then also, it's interesting that you were talking about in-person pitches. Now, obviously, if you could find the producer or booker of Good Morning America or the Kelly Clarkson show, whatever, that's great if you could sit and chat with them. Not many people have that opportunity that they could do that. So we're hoping here at Shock Your Media Potential that we could get you into some of these rooms or production companies or TV shows that producers will see it. So it might be interesting for us as a team to have people give their video pitches. So say, hey, give me a 1 minute or 30-second video pitch that we could upload so people could see that. So it's like, hey, I'm Eddie Luisi. How are you? I'm an expert in music. I had, I played it, but and have a little 30-second minute clip. And then after that on their page, if they actually been on camera, then they could actually have clips of them on camera. But it might be interesting to have that elevator pitch as a video so we could see their personality, their look into the camera. And our team could view them and give advice and say, do this, do that, or change this, change that, and then we'll upload it for you. And so that might be an interesting thing I'm just throwing out.
Yeah, it would be. I think a lot of people could use like that kind of mentorship in a way, or like guidance in a way. They don't really know what producers or stage managers look at or what they kind of see, in the media. I think I at least take it for granted. I just know, you know what I mean? Or like I have an idea, and I think a lot of people, they don't. So it would be good for that. That's a great idea. I like that.
Yeah.
Listen to what the interview, like when you land that interview, in order to get asked back, kill it. You know what I mean? Like just blow them away, and then talk to the, crew afterwards. And, if you guys ever need me, I'm here, I'm really, whatever, like making those connections. But then also like when you do land it, do well because, have the personality, have all of your knowledge, listen to the interview, like do everything that we, talked about in this past hour. And that's how you get asked back. That's how you become a regular. That's how you become a contributor. That's what I did. You know what I mean? Like they just liked the information I had, how I presented myself, all of that stuff. And they keep asking you back. And that's really, really good. That's definitely what you want and it's easier once you're getting asked back to a lot of places, you get asked by other places. And, it just makes the waterfall of, media time easier. And you just get more and more. So it's great. It trickles down, I guess, is what I'm looking for.
My 2 pieces of advice. For those of you who are watching this video, look at all 3 of us. We're all different people. We're all different ages, different backgrounds, but we're all real. We're talking. This is our personality. We're not faking it. We're not saying, hi, I'm Ed Luisi. Good morning, America. It's like we're being authentic. We're being real. So my first advice is if you want to be on TV, be real. Number 1. Number 2, when you get emails, when you get contacts, when you get phone call conversations, reply immediately. Don't wait.
Oh, that's good.
If you're really busy, send an email, say, got it. I'll reply in more detail later today or tomorrow.
And my last thought is, you might not be able to get me on TV with my book. You might not be able to book me as a musician, but if I were AC/DC, you would also sing my music, warming me up for Good Morning America, which I saw on your Facebook feed the other day. And I love it. So with that, we're going to wrap this interview today.